Wow, so definitely the level of engagement can be detected, and that's an exciting field to take a look at. So we are now into our 12 p.m. slot, and our next speaker brings with her, shall I say, a very timely topic, I believe. And our next speaker is a biotechnology and molecular medicine specialist at the Arabian Gulf University here in Bahrain. And she obtained her master's in medical biotechnology in 2002 with excellence. And in 2010, she joined the molecular medicine PhD program at His Highness Prince Al Jawhara Center and obtained her PhD with excellence in 2015. The following year, in February, she joined the Harvard Medical School in Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, in the US, for 18 months of postdoctoral fellowship. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce, to talk to us about AI in antibody design and drug discovery, Dr. Dana Naeem Ashoor. Hi, Dr. Dana.
Hi, Dr.
How are
Livardo. How are
you?
you? Fine, thank you. Thank you for the sweet introduction.
Wow.
I'm
Well, it's
happy
my
to
pleasure,
join you
and
today.
I'm sure it's going to be a very, very interesting topic, given the time.
Inshallah, I hope. Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Dana, the floor.
Okay. Can I share my screen?
Yes,
Just
please do.
okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I just like first of all to thank his um, His Majesty Sheikh Khalid for his initiatives, and I extend my thanks to BIBF, Bahrain Institute for Banking and Bahrain Polytechnic University for hosting this interesting event. My lecture will be about artificial intelligence in antibody and drug design. I'll try to give you, it is a huge subject, and I'll try to give you just a hint of what is going in my field, which is the biotechnology, and how we are getting use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in this field. Um, so I will start first of all by defining what is artificial intelligence and what is a bioinformatics. So artificial intelligence is the first, it was introduced in the 50s to describe human-like intelligence exhibited by machines. While bioinformatics, it was coined later in the 70s to describe the study of informatic processes and biotech systems. However, this term is being changed lately, I mean, in these days, due to the new technologies that has been arise in both field, the computer science and the biological field. So bioinformatics now is an interdisciplinary field that deals with the science of collecting and analyzing complex biological data. So it's merged computer science with biology to form the what we are calling it a bioinformatics. So bioinformatics, it is a merge of different fields, different sciences, including statistics, biochemistry, engineering, biophysics, computer science, biology, mathematics, and chemistry, and more others. So it combines all these sciences in one big, huge future science, if I can say it is a bioinformatics. Um, and it is good to point out here that anyone with any of background of any of these sciences can be a bioinformatician. And it is a really an interesting field, and it is a field of the future, especially in our region or our countries. We are very in need in this field, in need of scientists to be specialized in this field. So a biologist can be a bioinformatics, a computer scientist can also join the bioinformatics if he has like a basic knowledge of biology. So how can we use bioinformatics and artificial intelligence? Its primary goal of bioinformatics is to use the power of the machine and the machine learning to analyze biological data. So different types of computer sciences, including pattern recognition, data mining, machine learning algorithm, and visualization. We are using all of these in order to do a drug design, gene finding, looking for genes, analyzing codes, analyzing data, analyzing a huge amount of data, organizing them, archiving them, and retrieving them as needed. So just to give you, maybe you're gonna need to use your imagination here with me, how it's applied in bioinformatics, for example, in gene sequencing and gene coding. If you can imagine that each cell of our body has 46 chromosomes in it, and everything related to the human body is being coded. And I'm sure that the computer science specialists, they know what is what code is, and each code it need to be deciphered. So we have 46 chromosome in one cell, and it has all the codes that's related to the human body. And our job as a bioinformaticians is to decipher these codes, organize them, get the information of them, and relate them to our biological systems or the human or daily life or diseases and whatever. So if you can imagine that in one human cell, there's 3.5 million nucleotides. For the computer scientists, they can call them a character. And it's a huge amount of codes that need to be deciphered. So that's why we are using artificial intelligence algorithms to enhance the speed of finding these different genes, analyzing them, and relate them to their biological processes. As an example, just I'm going through because this is a huge subject and need hours and hours talk about it. So I'm just give you a hint about how can artificial intelligence help in cancer immunotherapy and COVID-19 vaccine. So, so artificial intelligence and learning models for COVID-19 vaccine is being used. I'm sure everybody hears about the trials of different huge pharmaceutical companies to produce a vaccine. So how can we produce a vaccine or a cure for the COVID-19 pandemic? Artificial intelligence play a big part in this uh, pandemic and vaccine development. For example, for one, it's an artificial intelligence to spot patterns and changes by exploring SARS-CoV-19, which is the coronavirus, using a Python tool. So if you can see here in this picture, this is the codes, if we can call them codes, of the COVID-19, the new coronavirus, which is called coronavirus 2, and in relation to the previous coronavirus, because a few years back, we had also an outbreak of a new coronavirus, which was called coronavirus 1. And now, but was not to the extent that can be announced as a pandemic. But this one, it was a widespread all over the continents, all over the world. And that's why it was a pandemic, and we call it the coronavirus, the new coronavirus or the coronavirus 2. So using artificial intelligence help us to uh, look at the codes of this new coronavirus and compare it to the previous one. Why is the previous one did not cause a pandemic, but this one is causing a pandemic and it is widespread? It's all written in the codes, and this is what we need as a bioinformaticians. We need to look at and to decipher and to know the reason why. Another example is also related to COVID-19 is the viral host prediction. There was a lot of talk in the beginning of the pandemic about where this virus was emerging from. Was it natural virus by natural selection, or was it made in the lab? So by looking by also looking at the code of the coronavirus and um, compare it to other to different types of other viruses that affect humans or animals, we can see that they are somehow related and there are also differences. So if you can see in these pictures showing like coronavirus 2, the new coronavirus in red, while the old coronavirus it's in yellow. So we can see that they are distant apart, although somehow related. So this is also give us an idea from where this new virus emerging. The other thing is also that we are using a lot in our research is the in silico modeling, and I specifically use this one by modeling the proteins. I mean, for the coronavirus to infect a human, it needs to enter the cell. And in order to enter the cell, there has to be an interaction between the virus and the human cell. The interaction happens in one kind of a protein that we call it a spike. And you can see it is protruding from the virus where it can bind to the cell, uh, to a receptor, specific receptor on the cell, and this will aid the virus to enter the human cell and we get the infection. So in order to understand how the virus binds to this receptor and if there's any differences or mutations that happen to the virus, because now it's been around 1 year since the virus emerged, and it was emerged first in Wuhan. Of course, after all these months, the virus has been changed a lot, and a lot of mutations happens in the virus. That and these mutations, I don't know if you hear the media was talking about that a new, stronger or virulent type of corona has been emerged, or that the coronavirus become weak. And why is that? It's because all it happens because different mutations that occurred by time on the virus, and especially in the place where it is bound to the cell. So if there's a mutation that will disrupt the structure, it will weaken the virus and it will not be longer able to bind to the cell. Otherwise, if there's another new mutation that will enhance the binding to the cell, it will make this a new strain more virulence. And you can see here, and we can do a simulation of the different mutations that happen to the virus, and by machine learning and artificial intelligence, we can predict if the new strain is going to be a lethal one, stronger, or a weak strain. And just to show you, during the pandemic, me and my team, um, of course, because of the lockdown, we couldn't have an access to our labs. To be precise, to a wet lab to do an experiment with the coronavirus, we decided to do an in silico study. And even though that we're living in different places, some of us were here in Bahrain. A colleague of mine was in Kuwait, and another colleague was in Canada. Even though we joined together by meeting, by using Zoom meeting, and we decided to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to do an in silico study. And this is what we did. And we published this paper uh, that described the different mutations happened into the coronavirus and what was the effect of these different mutations on the virulence and the strength of the virus. And it was all done on computer and without any actual experiment in the lab. Fourth thing that I'm sure that you all of us heard of these huge names of big pharmaceuticals companies, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca. They are all started to develop vaccines, and of course, for sure, they use artificial intelligence and machine learning to develop their vaccines. For example, Pfizer, they collaborated with IBM supercomputer to find different molecules that can combat the coronavirus, and how can we block the interaction of the coronavirus with the cell and hence to produce a vaccine for it. Now I'm gonna go to another subject of also my research interest, which is the immunotherapy for cancer, because I've been working in the lab for the past few years on this subject for production of an immunotherapy drug for cancer. So just in a short, what is an immunotherapy? Immunotherapy of cancer is to use the human own immune system to fight the cancer. I mean, instead of using X-ray, chemotherapy, which has surgeries, which has a lot of side effects, people now are looking for the immunotherapy by directing the immune cells, our own defense, to fight this foreign cell, which is the cancer. And in order to do that, we have to find a link that will direct the immune cell to the cancer, and this is by a specific protein found in our body that we call it an antibody. So how can we use artificial intelligence in this field? It's by designing the antibody, by finding a target, by doing a simulation, and by doing some simulation and using artificial intelligence to scan through a lot of different targets or proteins found on the surface of the cancer cell, and choose the suitable one that we can design a drug to it. And this, of course, using artificial intelligence will save us a lot of time, as we can do a simulation and we predict the result before we are turning into the wet lab and do the actual experiment. Okay, that have been said about artificial intelligence, even if it is an integral part of our life now, it has a lot of challenges. So one of the challenges is the inevitable question of ethics, because bioinformatics and artificial intelligence based on analyzing and storing and archiving a huge amount of data, and most of these are patient data. So who has the access to this data? This raises an issue of security that need to be addressed. And just an example that I'm sure you all know about the phase 3 trial that had been done in Bahrain for the company Sinopharm for the Chinese vaccine. All of the data, all of the collected data was stored and organized, and it will be analyzed by G42 company, which is an artificial intelligence and machine learning company, I think based in Dubai. So that's why we need to make sure that this data is secured, and who has the access to this data. And this is one of the main challenges of the artificial intelligence. Another challenge is the validation, because it's easy that to use a program or machine learning or a supercomputer. We can enter our data and we expect a simulation or a result from this computer or the program. So for example, here, if I enter my data to the machine and I ask them to do a simulation for an interaction of two proteins, it will give me a different or hundreds of results. So which one is the correct one? Who can validate the data? So here we'll go back to the human and to the actual experiment done in the lab. So we cannot just rely totally on the artificial intelligence and machine learning results. One third challenge is regarding the IP, or the intellectual property. And a lot of, as it is, becoming an integral part of our life and of our future, that it is a science of the future. Um, um, it has to be, the IP, the intellectual property rules had to be set. And uh, still it is not clear, even in different other countries, in Japan and in USA, that who has the intellectual property for an invention created by an artificial intelligence? Is it the scientist who entered the data, or is it the program itself, or is it the programmer? So the rules are not clear, and this this important issue, is to also need to be addressed, so that I mean, we need to know who has the right to the patent of any new invention. And as I found that in Japan, the Patent Act says that invention created solely by artificial intelligence cannot be protected by the patent rule, and it's the same in USA. So thank you for hosting me, and I hope that you get some information from this short lecture, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dana. Wow, that was very, very interesting.
Thank
And
you.
and of course, Dr. Dana, this is ongoing work, right? I mean, with so much that AI can provide in the field of drug testing and drug design.
Yes, I just want like to point something, Dr. Livardo, that this is the science of the future. And in our country, especially in the Arab world, we are in a very need for bioinformaticians. It's a very rare field. Nobody is specializing in bioinformaticians. I don't know, maybe people are scared of it. It's actually, I myself, I'm not a specialized in bioinformatics, but I get introduced to it a few years back, and it really interests me. So I did a lot of research about it. Uh, I mean, anybody, people, they don't have to be afraid. I mean, anybody who has a background of a computer science can be a bioinformatician with a little information about biology. You just not need to know the basic of biology, and
Mhm.
mainly computer science to be a bioinformatician.
Wonderful. So yes, there are definitely career prospects. Okay,
Yes.
as you shared there. Dr. Donna, I'm just interested because we know that pathogens, right? Pathogens, particularly viruses, have the capability to eventually evolve
Yes,
structurally, biochemically over time.
definitely.
The artificial intelligence as eventually being capable of predicting these changes in order to inform drug design in the future.
Well, the changes, it happens randomly. Maybe it's difficult to predict where the change is gonna be happening, and even though that there are some on the genome, on the gene itself, there are some hotspots that can be that they are susceptible more to changes more than other hotspots. We can predict that, but what we can predict more is that how these changes will affect the virulence of the pathogen. Will it make it stronger, or will it make it weaker?
Mhm.
And this is what we published it in our paper. We did a simulation for around 350 changes that happens
Wow.
in the coronavirus. And to be exact, in a very small piece of coronavirus,
Sure.
on the around 350 mutations within like few months. So this is show how much the virus is changing, and
Mhm.
hopefully that will change to turn into a weaker version of it.
Yes.
We'll get rid of this pandemic.
Yeah. And that is what we're all hoping for, actually.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Dana, we have, well, actually, a request from one of our participants, Ms. Fatma.
Sure.
Very interested to go through your paper. If you could share a link regarding the paper or the study that you've done,
Yeah, sure. Just give me a
possible,
minute.
in the chat box, probably. Yeah. So anyway, folks, we are still open for more questions for Dr. Dana. You can just type them into the question and answer box while she shares that link to us. And if I may also just remind everyone that this afternoon will be the workshops. Okay, we have some amazing workshops that will be happening from 12:30. I believe we have a couple from Amazon, okay, and a few more from some of our friends like
So,
Sarmil
sorry.
Al-Tajer from Infinite Wear will be doing something there. Mr. Mohammed Al-Bulai, he'll be talking about Google development. And
Um,
Ms. Sini Raj from the
yeah.
Polytechnic, she will be talking on understanding deep learning algorithm. So we shared the workshop link, so please do sign up for that.
So, Dr. Livardo, I share a link. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just put it on the all panelists.
Hmm. How can I do that?
Oh, no
This
worries.
is
You
in
could
the
send it to me
question
by
answer.
email, and I could do that for you. Or in the chat box. Yeah, they're right.
Yeah, I put it in the chat box.
Yeah,
This is
so it could reach everyone.
so. Any more questions?
Yeah. I do not believe we have any more. Wow.
Thank you.
Again, another session that blew us away. So, Dr. Dana, on behalf of everyone and the organizing committee, we'd like to thank you so much for engaging
Thank
with
you.
us, sharing us
Thank you,
with your
Dr.
work.
Livardo, for hosting me. And I thank you. I thank again BIBF and the Polytechnic for this interesting conference. Hope to join.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, looking forward to your future work and hearing.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dana. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Dana Ashoor from the Arabian Gulf University. So I guess that's it, everyone, for our morning session. So we have a few minutes to take a break. And again, please do find time to take a look at these interesting workshops that will be happening from 12:30 onwards. Okay, and I posted the workshop link over there. And I guess from my side, that is it. So thank you so much for staying with us. And we'll be seeing you again this afternoon with more of AI for all. Thank you, everyone. Wassalama. Thank you.